Hey, this is Robert Naini, your spray foam advisor. Today I want to talk about how do you respond when accidents happen? What is your plan? What do you have in place to prepare you and to be ready for when an accident occurs or when something unexpected happens? Because let's face it, this is the real world. No matter how good our game plan is, no matter how good our plans are, no matter how good our blueprints are, things that we don't expect to happen are going to happen. Accidents will occur. And the question is not what do you do if they happen? The question is what do you do when they happen? So let me tell you a little story. This morning I was actually going out to play disc golf. You probably know if you are a viewer of my blogs that I am an avid disc golfer, and I was going out to meet up with some friends at a local club game that we have. And I was pulling into the parking lot and turned around, backed up, and I wasn't paying enough attention to what I was doing. And I was looking at the car next to me to make sure I wasn't hitting it, and I wasn't looking behind me. And lo and behold, I ran into the tree behind me. I backed right into it, busted the windshield out of the back of the SUV, completely dented the back tailgate, the hatchback of the SUV. I drive a Mazda CX-7, completely destroyed the back hatchback door, and completely busted it out. And so I'm there cleaning it up, and 4 or 5 people saw this happen, watched me do it. They were all, in shock, and they were making sure I was okay, and nobody was physically injured, but this was an accident. And for most people, this happened, at like 9 o'clock in the morning. Most people, it would have ruined their day, absolutely ruined their day. They would have been thinking about the insurance process, and they would have been thinking about the money involved, and they would have been thinking about all of the consequences, the inconveniences associated with this accident. And for me, I did think about it, but right there in the moment, I thought about it, and I thought, well, what can I do about the situation? Worrying about it and complaining about it and being negative about what I did, about my accident, isn't going to help anything. It's not going to help me, and it's not going to help the situation. So what can I do? I can clean up the mess. I can make sure that this garbage goes to the right location, and then I can start strategizing how to handle this going forward, specifically how to handle the repair going forward so that it suits me the best. And so after I played my round, I started doing some research, and I figured out a key thing, that if the repair is only around $1,000 to $1,500, it might actually be better for me to pay for the repair out of pocket rather than paying the $500 deductible, making a claim on my insurance, paying the $500 deductible, and then possibly getting an increase of $50 a month or $100 a month on my insurance going forward. And even if that increase doesn't happen right now, even if it takes 6 months or 12 months before it happens, typically those types of increases to your insurance can last for 2 to 5 years. And so even at just 2 years at $50 a month, that's a substantial dollar amount over the long term. And if I pay that money up front, then I can keep that from affecting my insurance long term. And for a lot of people, this is not an option. For people that I know, people that I work with on a regular basis, that I have fun with, that I go out to dinner with, friends and family, they don't have the ability to just shell out $1,000 because so many people in today's society live paycheck to paycheck. They can't handle $1,000 hit to their bottom line out of nowhere, just on a random freak occurrence. They couldn't do it. They would be tough for them to come up with the $500. And it may sound strange to you out there if you have your financial business in order, but for a lot of people, they're living paycheck to paycheck, and $500 for the deductible would be a stretch, let alone coming $1,000 to $1,500 out of pocket for their whole repair themselves. So they don't have that option. They would have to take the insurance hike. But luckily, I've done something unique with our finances, with my family's finances, and I actually collect a monthly amount. I put about $300 to $350 a month into an auto account. Both of our cars are paid for. We don't have a car payment. So I put about $300 to $350 a month into an auto account. And that auto account accumulates for vehicle expenses, for when we need services to our vehicles, for when we need insurance and registration. and all of the types of expenses that we deal with our vehicles on a regular basis. I accumulate that on a monthly basis. So it also creates an emergency fund for my vehicles, so that it creates a backup, so that if one of our vehicles dies, for example, I have money to go out and either buy a cheap vehicle or to put down for a down payment to get another vehicle. So I have these plans in place. I have a strategic financial decision that I've made in the past, 3, 4, 5 years ago, when I set up this idea, when I set up this account, to have, actually I've probably operated this account for 5 or 6 years now, to collect this money on a monthly basis, so that if something happens, I would be prepared and I would be okay. And because I made this decision 5 or 6 years ago, it didn't bother me at all today. Individually, I wasn't bothered by this accident that occurred, while other people around me that saw it happen couldn't understand how I was so even keel and not emotionally affected by it. And the reality is, I made a plan a long time ago for how to deal with situations like this, so that these types of accidents don't ruin my day and don't ruin my month and don't ruin my year. And the big picture to all of this can be applied to your business, and it should be applied to your business. You need to have a plan in place for things that might happen, a financial plan in place. What if an accident occurs? What's your emergency fund for your business? What's your emergency fund for your personal life? You need to have a plan in place for physical accidents. You know, we talk about safety on Spray Foam Advisor on a regular basis. You need to have a safety plan in place. What's the plan for safety issues, for risks in the safety realm when you're dealing with spraying, when you're dealing with chemicals, what happens if there's a chemical spill? What happens if these accidents occur? You and your team need to know what these plans are, because it will keep you out of hot water. It will keep you from stressing when something goes wrong. When you have that occurrence, when you have that accident, when it finally happens, you have a plan in place to take care of it. And because of that plan, you will go immediately into action mode on your plan, and you won't be in stress. You won't have to worry. You won't have to freak out. You won't go through the emotional dip that typically involves these types of events. When accidents occur, people tend to get very emotional and tend to go way down into a valley with their emotions, because they react emotionally, because it's instinctual for us. The key here is to have a solid plan when you are even keel, when you're in a calm state of mind. Create that plan. Make sure that your whole team knows what that plan is. Like I said, whether it's for safety issues with your truck, with your rig, with spraying on site, whether it's a financial safety plan, whether it's an emergency fund for your family and for your personal matters, all of these things weave together. And ultimately, you need to be responsible for creating a plan to keep things even keel, even when accidents happen. The point being, be prepared, make a plan, put a plan into place, be prepared to execute on that plan and take action if an accident occurs. Like I said, it's not a matter of if an accident or unexpected thing happens. It's a matter of when. Make sure you're prepared to handle that. This has been Robert Naini with Spray Foam Advisor. Thanks for checking us out. Catch us on some more videos.